If all women who have been sexually harassed or assaulted wrote "Me Too" as a status, we might give people a sense of magnitude of the problem. So millions of people have come out posting "Me Too." I applaud them all. I think it's brave, and I think it's important to speak out and not be shamed by anyone. It is not always easy, but we have to do that. And that's why I posted, and I will say it right now out loud, "Me Too." Part of the problem is that from a young age, girls are taught to stay quiet and be nice, and that boys are stronger and somehow we are less than. That is why it is hard for us to speak out. And even when we do speak out, people don't believe us. But there is power in numbers, and good for us, good for everyone speaking out. I want to say thank you for everybody for speaking out.
I did my internship, and one man approached me and I said, the only time I'm going to touch your penis is to put it in this syringe.
And why did you have to say that to him? Did he approach you?
Yes, he approached me. He approached me. He took his penis out and asked me to hold it.
The movement called #MeTooK12 encourages young people who have faced sexual harassment or assault in schools to come forward with their stories. They want people to know that assault in schools can happen in classrooms, cafeterias, even hallways. And guess what? It's working. Students are coming forward with stories of being harassed or assaulted by classmates, teachers, even school administrators, the adults who are supposed to protect them. And when you're at work, you don't know what's happening every day in your kids' day-to-day life.
This is not a male thing or a female thing. It is not a Hollywood thing or a political thing. This is a human thing, and it happens in the workplace. It happens in families. It happens all over the world, and we are all the same. We all want the same thing. We want respect and love and kindness, and if I could have those three things in a new iPhone 10, I would be complete. All I ask for.
Women everywhere are hearing it. There has to be momentum. I think it's there, and women's lives will be better.
Between 60 and 70% of women don't report sexual harassment because they weren't sure that it was serious enough.
Oh my God. That's really sad.
Yeah, I believe that. I'm surprised it's not more. In my work as an RA, I come up with that a lot because I'm always offering resources, telling women what their options are. And so many of them just say, I don't want to go through that ordeal. I know it's going to end poorly. And how can I disagree with that?
I struggled when everyone was posting the Me Too stuff online to be like, does my story count, or am I detracting from this movement? I want to say Me Too to acknowledge how prevalent all of this is, but if no one grabbed me, if it was some compliment that really was inappropriate for the workplace, it's like that, it was always on that line.
I don't know any woman my age, I can't speak for younger, who hasn't been the object of sexual harassment.
They would always take the male side because the male was in power.
Like, I went for a job interview one time as a waitress, and I had waitressing experience, and the man said, turn around and walk away from me so I can see your legs. And so I did. I mean, we did. We just expected it.
Those were the days. Every man was entitled and every woman was not entitled.
As you know, it's been a crazy few months in Hollywood. A lot of victims have come forward and a lot of people have lost their jobs. What was your initial reaction to everything?
Apparently, everyone already knew in Hollywood, and I was just more shocked that this didn't happen earlier.
It's a little sad that it took so long for something to happen.
I'm not surprised. Let them all burn. At last, bitch! Our day has come! The gag is Hollywood's been doing this for years.
The obvious thing is it's good to know that we're denormalizing predation, that it's not gonna be safe out there to be a garbage person anymore.
I'm surprised that anyone cared about gay victims and men victims. This is the first, just to get real, it's harder to even come forward when you're a man or a boy.
I think that what really creeped me out was the one with the kids, younger kid stars, when they were getting preyed on by the producers and stuff like that.
Maybe I'm just I've been too naive, but I just was shocked that it's that hard to be a professional here.
A major scandal is unfolding in the political arena in Russia. It involves a powerful lawmaker and the chairman of the Russian State Duma's Committee on International Affairs, obviously an important player. His name, Leonid Slutsky. In February, Slutsky was accused of sexual harassment in the workplace by 3 female journalists. All 3 claimed he tried to touch and kiss them during interviews, which happened back in 2011, 2014, and last year too. Why didn't they speak out earlier? Well, the victims say they didn't feel comfortable and safe doing so, until now. When the case eventually made it to the State Duma Ethics Commission, it found no violations, and one deputy even claimed that Slutsky's actions were a mere sign of affection. A few deputies, however, did take the journalist's side.
It is unfair to question these ladies about why they didn't say anything earlier, because that's embarrassing. It makes you feel uneasy for yourself, your family, your mother. My only advice is to go to court.
So, as a response to the negative ruling against the women, certain media outlets have declared a boycott against the State Duma. Even a Special Forces magazine has blasted Slutsky's behaviour as shameful. In fact, more than a dozen platforms have demanded Slutsky's resignation and refused to have any contact with Duma representatives, claiming it's not a safe place to work, both for men and women. The Duma has made its position clear by suspending the credentials of certain media. Slutsky has kept his job, but many outlets are making sure the scandal doesn't die down. And there's your Me Too moment in Russia.
Terry Crews, the former NFL linebacker turned actor, adding his voice to the tidal wave of people sharing their claims of sexual assault in Hollywood.
And people say, wow, man, you should just laugh it off. You should just forget it. No, I'm not going to forget it.
In February of 2016, Crews says he and the Hollywood super agent Adam Venit were at the same party. Venit has represented some of Hollywood's biggest names: Liam Hemsworth, Emma Stone, Sylvester Stallone, Eddie Murphy, and Adam Sandler.
You're talking about a very, very powerful man who has access to studio heads. What they do affects every part of the business, from producers, writers, actors. They own finance companies, the whole thing.
Crews himself was represented by the same agency, William Morris Endeavor. For over a year, he remained publicly silent. But shortly after the Harvey Weinstein scandal broke, he tweeted, "This whole thing with Harvey Weinstein is giving me PTSD. Why? Because this kind of thing happened to me." Adding, a high-level Hollywood executive came over to me and groped my privates.
When I tweeted, I didn't mention the name. I didn't mention anybody. But what happened was I started getting calls from the agency. Hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? I said, no, it's not okay. I've been waiting a year and I haven't heard anything. What happened with him? Where is his accountability? And I'm sitting here and it's a year later. What have you done? I paid William Morris Endeavor 10% of everything I made for the last 15 years. I did not deserve to get molested.
Since going public, Crews filed a police report. TMZ captured him leaving an LAPD office last week.
Why did you decide to file the police report today?
Oh, because, people have to be held accountable.
No, I understand that. Are you planning to file a lawsuit as well?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep. We're going to go all the way.
Terry Crews said he ended his relationship with the agency last week. William Morris Endeavor tells ABC News that Venit has been suspended following the internal investigation into the matter. Venit himself declined to comment.
I would walk into the kitchen and be whistled at. I would have comments made on my body, the size of my breasts, just everything. I was shown pornography, like on their phones on the overnight. I was cornered in the walk-in cooler.
Marie Belisle's experience is not uncommon. She was a waitress, which means in America, she doesn't get paid even the minimum wage, instead relying on tips. That makes this population extremely vulnerable to attacks by coworkers and customers.
There are no nationwide statistics on just how many women experience sexual harassment in the workplace, but there is a government agency where they can complain. And if you look at those numbers, the largest group of people who deal with this work in the hospitality industry.
Well, they're not just on the lower economic strata, most of them are at the bottom.
Attorney Tyler Fox says low-wage workers are particularly vulnerable because most don't have savings. If they lose their jobs, they lose everything. Feminist icon Gloria Steinem spoke to Al Jazeera. She believes these high-profile cases will help people far down the economic ladder.
This is a tidal wave, and we're beginning to look at the ways it is not just the sexual harassment that's illegal, which is one thing, but the whole patriarchal system.
For her part, the government took up Belisle's case. The restaurant closed and she got some compensation, and she believes now there will be many more like her.
What's happening feels very, very big and very powerful and very loud.
Part of a sea of women saying, "Me too," but now, not one more. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera.
I would describe being a female founder as exciting and exhausting. You've proven yourself and you've made money. The people who have the money that will accelerate your ideas want to see your boobs. I was lucky enough to have an advisor or mentor who had never expressed any romantic or sexual interest in me. I remember it, we're sitting side by side in front of a computer, and at the end of that, he stood up and he pulled out his erect penis? Genitalia? He pulled out his erect penis, and it was like right in eyesight, and this was literally after 2 hours of just working on work. At the time, it wasn't funny, and you're just kind of shocked. You don't know what to do. It's upsetting for sure, and it's embarrassing. You don't want to tell people that you were in a business meeting and somebody shamed you and made you feel less than. Who wants to say that? Who wants to mention that when they're talking about how their business is progressing? But that's what happens. And yeah, that's one of those moments when you officially just put up your white flag and say, I'm not going to put myself in this situation again. I'm never going to be taken seriously. But things changed for me after that. I decided to not keep pursuing investor funding and get my money the old-fashioned way from customers, because that proves your concept better than anything, better than anybody who doesn't know you and will make biases against you to bet on you. I'd rather have like customers who pay and actually want and need and like and love the service invest in me rather than some horny dude with a checkbook. Any day of the week.
So this lawsuit against the NFL Network was originally filed in October. Actually, it was one day after the Harvey Weinstein story broke in the New York Times. So when I was speaking with the lawyers, he said there wasn't a greater understanding of sexual harassment and how pervasive it might be in workplaces. Yesterday, she filed an amendment naming names, so naming these executives and household football players' names. And so that has really brought awareness to just how pervasive that they allege that this sexual harassment was at the NFL.
And Jamie Cantor, the person who's making these accusations, she had also raised concerns about working conditions at the NFL Network before, complained to her superiors, her managers, and nothing was done.
Yeah, so Jamie Cantor, she was a wardrobe stylist at the NFL Network for about 10 years. And so she had raised this complaint that the former players were texting her nude photos and groping her in the morning. She said in the complaint, it says, instead of good morning, they would grope her on the breast, her butt. And so her supervisor said, that's part of the job. So she's alleging that she didn't even have a support system when she reported it.
Have we had any feedback? Have we contacted the accused individuals here to get any feedback on the latest or deep dive into some of these allegations? Have we heard anything?
So part of our reporting, we definitely reached out to all of the people named in the suit. Just to be clear, the only people being sued is the NFL Network and one of her supervisors. So we've reached out. They've been suspended, but we haven't heard any statements further than that.